In quick tip 75, we looked at how traditionalists paint white. Now let's take a look at how the original Impressionists painted whites. The original Impressionists were concerned with color and the way that you see color in light, or the way color can, when two colors are put together, they can cause a third color because of the way that light behaves. So one good way to approach painting white the same way that the original Impressionists did was to think in terms of pairs of complements, first of all. So, and then two pairs of complements, a pair of warms and a pair of cools. Now, one good way to do this would be to start with a color wheel and say have a blue-green as one of the cools, and then its complement, which would be red-orange, as one of the warms, and then go over to blue-violet as one of the cools, and its complement of yellow-orange as one of the warms. So then if you set your palette up like that with those colors, that's a good place to begin, because we'll be mixing and intermixing among those to show you how those colors might help to define or interpret something that's white. So I have here a white bowl, something's being poured into the bowl. We're going to ignore that because this is going to be a very short, quick tip, so it's just going to address the color of white. So what would the Impressionists do? First of all, where is the light and where is the shadow? The light is right here. We can see the strongest light apparently coming from above someplace, and we see more light right in here. We see then the back of the inside of the bowl begins to fall into shadow there. All the outside of the bowl is in shadow. Now, here's the way we can go about this. We can think of the cool colors as being our shadow colors and the warm colors as being our light colors, and that's where we'll start. The other thing that we need to do is to find a way to slightly reduce the intensity of these colors. So one thing that we can do, say for example for cool colors, let's get right up here. I'm going to pull some white down right here because I do want to raise that value just a little bit. Work with those values a little bit. I have here the this is Rembrandt's Viridian, and this is Gamnon's Dioxazine Purple, and then this is Gamnon's Cadmium Red Light, and then this is the Rembrandt Cadmium Yellow Deep. So those are the colors I've chosen for that set of colors. So to going into this, I'll start over here with what I call shallow shadow, and we can take that green at a very, at still a shadow value. If you're using the value scales of 1 to 10, where 10 would be the darkest and 1 would be the lightest, that value scale, this value would fall no darker than 5. I mean, no lighter than 5. This is the shadow value, no lighter than 5. All right, so I would then develop a mixture of the Viridian white, and then I'll put a little bit of that purple into it, not just pull too much. So and then not thoroughly mix it, so that when we put that color down, we get a color that is not thoroughly mixed, a bluish color that's not thoroughly mixed of the two cool colors, the yellow, the blue green and the red violet, of those two colors, blue green and blue violet, I believe that is. Okay, so now as I move towards light, I'm going to begin to pick up just a little bit in the brush of the cadmium red light. So now watch what happens here. When that we begin to add a little bit of that warm to it, then we begin to see a little bit of that color vibration. I'll throw a little bit of that warm back into the shadow area. As it moves closer and closer to the light, still keeping some of that cooler color in the brush, I'll go and make another strip of color. There we go. Now, I'm going to wash the brush now because I want to get that cool color out of the brush. And now we'll move into the cadmium red light. Now we're moving into the lights, transitioning from shadow into light. So when we're moving into light, so we get on that upper end of the value scale. The reds are going to do that. The cadmium red light mixed with white is going to do that, because cadmium red light is in the light, on the light side of the value scale. So that gives us pretty much automatic transition. But that cadmium red light by itself is going to be too bright. It's going to need, I'll show you, it's going to need some taming down. It's going to be slightly neutral. Now, one way we can do that is just to go back into a little bit of the viridian and slightly neutralize. We don't need it much neutral, I should say, not quite so neutral, but just a little bit neutralized. And we'll bring that color down, and then we'll let that begin to get a little lighter. Oh, not that light. There we go here. There we go, a little lighter. Now I'll work that backwards, and you'll begin to see some of that light. Let's go this way with it. You begin to see that kind of vibrate in there, which is the way the Impressionists wanted their colors to work, where the one color caused us to see another color, and so on. Now I'm going to move now away from the cadmium yellow light. I'm going to move towards the cadmium orange. And we'll just throw some of that cadmium orange right here on top of the cadmium light, just like that. I'm going to move it into this direction just a little bit there, and then add the white to the cadmium orange. And I still have a little bit of that cadmium red light on the brush too. Those two together. And in the light area, then we will have that. And let's get just even more. Get it really, really bright right here where the light's hitting, right there. Now we can give that a little bit of a sweep with a brush this way, and you begin to see those colors vibrate together. Those complementary colors vibrate together. Now, this is sort of in the extreme, but it gets the point. Now, to make that even more fun, we can take some of the complement of the blue and throw it in here, and that's of the same value. The complement of the same value. In the same value range, right in here, just throw a little bit in there. See, it causes that to give that vibration. We could do the same thing on the warm side, where we take the complement, in that case the yellow orange, and so we'll be looking at the blue green. And let's just take a little bit of that over here. Now we want to raise the value in order for this to work. Pick up just enough white to raise the value to the same value that we're looking at here. And we'll throw, let's see if that's there we go. So just throw a little bit of that kind of echo in there, and we begin to see, you begin to see it then. Begin to see how that color affects, how each color affects the other to help create that kind of iridescence. So you can see already in that, once you get that part, the inside part defined, let's put just a little bit more white in there, get that a little bit more. Be careful while you're getting that defined, be careful that you don't overblend, because if you overblend, then you'll destroy that relationship of one color sitting on top of the other. So quickly, I'll go into just a portion of the shadow area. I don't want to make the quick tip so long that it gets confusing, but we go just very quickly into the shadow area, and would want to this part of the shadow here, you see, be very dark. Now the Impressionists didn't like to make their darks very dark, so the darkest dark that you would find in an Impressionist painting would not go as dark as you would actually see it in shadow. So you'd want to keep that, what we call the shallow shadow, that mixture of the blue-green and the violet. You want to keep that mixture relatively light, like we have it here, but you don't want to thoroughly mix it. And if you'll notice, you have some purple showing through in some places of the mixture. There we go. And the blue showing through other places of the mixture. So you sort of have them intertwined. You can see some purple here and some blue there. That's part of what made it work. And then that would then you would then raise the value of those, still keeping it, and this got to be darker. I'm going to mute that just a little bit. I'm going to get that a little bit, there we go, right here, a little, there we go. Keeping that still the same value, but getting it a little bit less intense. as it moves in and picks up some of that reflective light right in there. Let's get those two kind of blended. There we go. And begin to see now that you begin to see now how the red of the red in this area kind of vibrates against the blue there, and then it goes around in behind the back side of this and then begins to turn blue. Now, this is very simplified, but it's a good little exercise to kind of play with, just to take two colors and rather than blend them, allow them to go on together. You might call that kind of a double-loaded brush, where you pick up one color and then another color of the same value, and then allow the brush to move into the subject with those two colors, giving it very little stroking. Now, to just to wrap it up, I just see something I want to do there because I'm seeing a little bit of discrepancy, and that is right up in here. We're beginning to see that more as blue, so I'm just going to add a little bit more of the violet, and I'll show you how we can wrap that together, make it feel more like the same color. Just add a little bit more of the violet right in here, like that, and pull that forward. Let's throw. Now I want to echo in the bowl itself some of the reflected light. So I'll put that reflected light in the red-orange color, and then of course the last thing would be to throw the very light, and we'll just go into those warm colors for the very light of the rim, where it's hitting the rim really strong right here. Now I noticed that in the subject itself we have that dark background, and so I'm going to throw just very quickly, I'm going to throw a wash of a darker background in there so that you can get the full intensity. Not intensity, that's not the word I want to use. So you can get the full meaning of those colors, and or the full feeling of those colors and how they would behave. So let's see, right in here, just throw some dark right in here, and just kind of brush that in. I'm just not going to be careful to honor the shape of that bowl. Just want to show you when a white bowl is in a dark environment like that, and what the Impressionists might do with it. And so we'll just sort of throw that in. Now you might say, well, why didn't you throw the dark environment in there first? Oh well, a variety in life, like that. This, to me, it's fun to watch the color pop out, or watch how the color gets influenced when you throw in the background after you have done the study. But either way works. So let's just get that background a little bit more defined, a little bit more clearly defined right here. And as I move around it just like that, don't want to echo the shape of that bowl, and move a little bit more, and we'll shake that bowl up just a little bit more like that. Alright, now a couple of final touches, and it gives you the idea of how an Impressionist would handle this. Impressionists would Impressionists work with their salt would honor the cast shadow. You see the shadow stronger at the bottom there, and get that blended just a little bit there. Get it blended just a little bit here, and let's put a little bit more, shore up the rim just a little bit here, and here, go around the edge, shore that up just a little bit. So shore this up just a little bit right here, and a little bit more cast shadow. Can't allow this to go out into the universe without this cast shadow on. It's like letting a baby go out without its diaper. So we've got to have the cast shadow right here. There we go, and sort of pull that in like that. Okay, let's see now. I'm going to rinse the brush now, and I'm going to go with one final brush load of just white to emphasize the whole whiteness of the bowl. And so we'll just throw a little bit of white in here like that, and just get a little bit more of that rim, and perhaps that may be enough like that. Let's get a little bit of reflection like that. And so that's probably close enough. Play with that idea, and you can put a little bit more time into yours and see then if you can't find it fun to interpret white the way Impressionists might interpret white. And there's your quick tip.